Well, but something you said before gets in a direction that I wanted to get to, which is that I think of life as a kind of negotiation between control and messiness, or productivity and discovery. So how do you at this point kind of balance that in your life? You said that the podcast was a way of kind of allowing yourself a little more in the discovery end of things.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that at this point, I have trained myself to be very good at achievement, at setting goals and locking my crosshairs on them,
Right.
and checking off the check boxes. Optimization for me, from an efficiency standpoint, given my, say, like 10 primary activities, whatever those might be,
Okay.
is an incremental gain. It's an incremental gain and an incremental game. Whereas for me to experience breakthroughs, both in quality of life and in performance across many different spheres, I feel like I have to, A, focus on the other half of the yin-yang diagram,
Right.
which is appreciation and gratitude. I read once, and I don't know who the original author of this quote is. I think it might have actually been Lao Tzu, but that depression is a focus on the past and anxiety is a focus on the future. People who are good at goal achievement
Right.
are almost by definition largely future focused.
Sure.
And, not surprisingly, at least in my personal experience, that tends to produce a lot of anxiety. The gratitude, which I think is a more helpful but sounds loosey-goosey, woo-woo way to put it, on the appreciation side, is very important, because if you can't enjoy what you have, nothing you get will ever make you happy. Which means that being the best at achieving is just a Faustian bargain. It's like, great,
Right.
you've achieved X, but you're going to take 2 seconds to be like, wow, I achieved X, and then you're going to obsess on the next
Right.
Y. And you will never reach nirvana. You will never reach the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, because you will always be looking for the next phase. Then if we look at just multiplying results instead of incremental gains, I think it was Picasso, I just recently read this, who said, in art I don't seek, I find.
Right.
So seeking, I think, is goal orientation. Finding is more that exploration process. So I like to expose myself to novel inputs, or, quite frankly, to empty space, to slack, where I might have an activity. I might be doing something physical. I might be going for a long hike. I might be going for a long swim. I might be doing acro yoga. I might be doing jiu-jitsu, who knows.
Right.
But providing a slack in my mental schedule
Right.
for discovering. So discovering to me and exploring are two different things. So if you have slack, you can discover connections that you didn't put together before, or
Right.
observations you didn't put together before. It's largely a passive or subconscious process. Exploring is a conscious process, but you can do that in novel ways.
Sure.
So I might ask absurd questions to do that, which is how a lot of people in Tools of Titans function. I just noticed this. The more and more I looked at, not people who are great at what they do, but the top 1%.
Right.
The more I looked at the top 1%, the more I saw absurd, crazy questions. So Peter Thiel asking, why can't you accomplish your 10-year plan in the next 6 months? Or Peter Diamandis, chairman of the X Prize, asking potential portfolio company founders, if you had to 10x the economics of your business in the next 6 months, how would you do it? And if they say it's not possible, he says, I do not accept that answer. Try again.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because these questions, they shatter the assumptions or framework or set of rules you've been playing by.
Sure, but those are still, I mean, those questions you cited are still sort of goal-oriented questions.
Now,
They're-
no, they are. So,
Yeah.
so there's the appreciation piece, which they have their own processes, right?
Right.
They have the meditation, they have physical components, they have biochemical components, right?
Right.
It could be 5 milligrams of lithium orotate a day might make a big difference in your life. I mean, this is something that the New York Times has written about. There's a lot of research that I talk about with Dr. Peter Attia, but there are many components to the appreciation. But if I'm then trying to go on the achievement side,
Right.
from incremental to maybe not exponential, but
Gotcha.
logarithmic, or at least not nonlinear, then I'm going to be asking these absurd questions.